Hi, I'm Alice the Fabric Ninja, and today we're attacking visible zippers. Visible zippers! These words strike fear into the hearts of many. Why do they sound so scary? But seriously, they sound scary. Invisible zippers, how are you supposed to get everything lined up, and how is that supposed to disappear? But it does. But today, you will conquer the invisible zipper. So I learned how to put invisible zippers in years ago, but the reason I'm doing this video is because I learned how to put invisible zippers in with this foot. This is your standard old zipper foot. And I just recently learned about this amazing foot. It's an invisible zipper foot. Like, that's its entire job, is to be able to put in invisible zippers. I didn't even know it existed. I actually had one and didn't know what it was for. And I have been told that putting in invisible zippers with this foot is so easy, but I've never done it. So I am bringing you along on my journey to learn how to use this invisible zipper foot. If it's as easy as my friends say, we'll have it in the first time, and then I'll know that you can put an invisible zipper in without it being so scary. Why do I sound like Count Chocula? Nonetheless, let's do this. Here we have my fabric and my invisible zippers. This is a pack of 20 invisible zippers that I just got from Amazon, and it cost me about $9. Yeah, 20 of them. So you don't have to worry about trying things out and wasting a lot of money. Invisible zippers don't have to be expensive. Especially if you're willing to put out just a few more dollars, you can get a ton more. So theoretically, when you are putting in an invisible zipper, you want it to match or be slightly darker than the fabric you're working on. So I guess this one would probably be the best option. This is lighter, but would probably work because it's a better tone. But today we're working on hard mode. So we're going to put in the orange zipper so you can see everything and you can know if it's showing up too much. So the best way to figure out where things go is to have everything laid the way you want it, and then kind of plop things over and throw a pin in it or a clip or whatever, just to help you understand how things are going to work. So that'll fold over that way. I'm being very imprecise right now, just to show you how everything is going to sit. And they are going to come together, meeting in the middle to hide that zipper. So what we need to do is figure out where to put our zipper and then sew it in. If you were doing a zipper of any style on fabric that is, I like to call it woodgy. It has no structure. So this is a piece of linen. I mean, I could wad this in the tiniest little ball, and when I have the fiber here, I can really move it. This is woodgy. I mean, such a technical term there, but it's not solid. It doesn't have structure. And you're gonna need a little structure for a zipper of any style. So you need to put a piece of interfacing across that edge. Quite frankly, most any style of interfacing will work as long as it's not too heavy. You don't need something that's crispy here. You just need something that creates some structure. This happens to be a piece of knit tricot because I ran out of my favorite interfacing, but it works. It creates structure in this linen, which is where this will get an invisible zipper a little bit later. So this fabric here has lots of structure. I don't think it's ever been washed. It's a quilter's cotton, but it's kind of stiff. So I think this will work for us without adding any interfacing. But if we were, it would be right on those edges. So this tape is curled. That's kind of how it makes itself invisible, because it's out like this and then it curls in, moving those fabric edges right next to each other. we need to undo that curl just a little bit. So we're going to iron this open just a little bit. You don't need to make it so it never is going to go back the other way again. You just need to press it a tiny bit just to help yourself out. Okay, so I'm going to go to the iron and do that. I'm not done ironing yet, but this one has been ironed and this one has not been. And I want to show you that difference. This one is a little bit flatter and smoother, and this one is very curled up still. So I'm going to go and flatten this like that with the iron. Now they have both been ironed. Here and here is both flatter. It doesn't have to be perfectly flat because you're going to need it to go back the way it was. This is just to help you sew it. And I feel like I need to say probably 50 times when I tell anyone to iron a zipper, please check the heat setting on your zipper to make sure you're not going to melt it. Now let's be clear. I still iron my zipper on scorched earth setting, but I do it really, really fast so it doesn't melt. But if you're going to take any slow amount of time doing this, you have to turn your iron down or you're just going to melt the zipper and it's not going to work. So now that we ironed our zipper, we're going to actually zip it back up. I know it seems a little counterintuitive and it turns into a taco because we've ironed it, but it helps us make sure that we got everything placed right so we don't screw up. So your zipper needs to go with the top of what you're making, assuming it's like a skirt that you need to zip down or the back of a dress. Making some assumptions here. So the zipper is going to need to go at the top. And it's going to flip over like this. Stick a clip or a pin in it. So when we flip this over, the right side of the zipper will be with the right side of the fabric. So we have it going in the right way. Awesome. Now I have my zipper a little bit down from the top, and that is to accommodate for any seam allowance up here. This is a waistband. We were going to have to be able to take some seam allowance off here and not cut off the top of the zipper. But remember, if you miscalculate, you move your zipper down to where it needs to be, and you just create a new end. It's not the end of the world, don't worry. And now I want to talk about placement. I have these lines here. This is a 1/2 inch. This is 1 inch from the edge. If your seam allowance is a 1/2 inch, you're going to just put this particular invisible zipper right along the edge and use that magical foot. But what if your seam allowance isn't a 1/2 inch, or what if your zipper tape isn't a 1/2 inch? What do I do? Well, you need to line up the teeth of the zipper, because you have it flat now. So the teeth are going to go right along that seam line. You would just keep going down and lining up right along that seam line so you know that your zipper is in the right place. I hate pinning, and this is just for practice, so I'm just going to use the edge of the fabric as my seam line. And because I've drawn all these wonderful marks on here, I'm going to flip it around and use the other side so I don't have to look at them. So now we are going to get this onto the edge. And as I said, we don't want to mess up. So even though I'm not going to do pinning, I am still going to stick a clip right in the top here and just a little way down, just in case that one falls out. So there is no chance that I end up flipping all of this the wrong way once I get to the sewing machine. And now we're going to use this magical foot. Let's do it. This is my ever-sewn Sparrow 15, and what we're going to be using to put our zipper in today. I actually have 4 of these machines. They're all mechanical, and I use them when I teach, so that everyone is working on the same sewing machine, especially if they didn't bring their own. This is a regular zipper foot, and I already know how to put an invisible zipper in with this foot. Your invisible zipper foot may look different. There are several styles around. But today, we are going to use the invisible zipper foot for the very first time. I've never done it before. So, let's crack on. Okay, so we got a hole in the top. It's not very wide. Awesome. Meant for a straight stitch, obviously, but it has some width, so it has some adjustability. On the bottom, it has 2 channels. So which channel your zipper goes into depends on which side of the zipper you're sewing at the time. So the invisible zipper foot does not put the zipper on when it's closed. Despite it will actually, move over it, that's not what it's designed for. It's designed for when it's open. See, that just glides perfectly, so you don't have to do much work because the foot's doing all the work for you. That's amazing. I love things like that just make everything easier. Okay, I have my foot installed. And we will have to do some adjustment of where the needle is. So my width adjustment for my needle is part of my width adjustment for my normal stitches. When you move this, the needle moves back and forth. Future Alice here, you know that thing I said about needing to move your needle to the right spot and how I had so much difficulty and kept sewing over my zipper and then didn't put it close enough? Yeah, that's on me. Your needle just needs to be in the center. You don't have to move it at all. If your machine doesn't have a needle adjustment, awesome. You were doing better than me then. So your needle just needs to be lined up with the center, and it will always put the zipper in properly. It was me who was causing all the problems. Back to current Alice. Bye. I have everything lined up. This clip helps me know that I put everything in the right spot and that I've not managed to flip the zipper over. And I'm going to stick this in here. We're going to figure out which side it needs to go on. I think it's the far side so that my needle will come down right next to those zipper teeth. So let's move it to the other one and see what would happen. So I'm not able to get my needle far enough over to get in the right spot. So I know that this has to be the right one. I'm going to make sure the zipper tape is right there on the edge of the fabric because we're doing the 1/2 inch thing. And then I'm going to play with my needle until it ends up in the spot I like. Oh, that looks great. So I'm going to go forward and back. I have my foot on the wrong presser foot of the wrong sewing machine. That was going to be exciting real quick. So forward and back, and then carry on. I'm going to line up the edge of that fabric as we go, or whatever line you are following. And all you gotta do is keep the zipper where you want it. It keeps it properly aligned with the needle the whole time. This is so cool. And you see how the zipper is perpendicular, it goes straight up from the fabric. So it stands up like a wall. That is perfect. That's exactly how you want it to go in to the foot. Now my zipper is longer than my seam. This is awesome because normally when you're putting in a zipper, you're doing it for part of a seam. So you're going to have extra zipper, and that's just kind of the expected method. But I will go to the end here and do my back stitch. Now, I also did not put thread in here that matches at all, so you guys can really see how this works. I'm going to trim my threads. And you can see exactly where that line of stitching fell. It was right on that divider between those 2 different parts of the zipper. It's right there at the bottom of the teeth. Okay, did that all the way up there. Now I need my other piece of fabric. Here's the first side of that zipper, all zipped up, and look at that. It disappears. It's okay. I'm loving this foot. Why have I not known about this invisible zipper foot this whole time? Okay, that was the first side. Now it's zipped up. I'm gonna lay my next piece of fabric on top, flip it over, make sure everything is where it goes, and make sure that the edges of my fabric are aligned. So I mean, if this is the opening of a skirt, you want these top two edges to actually line up, otherwise your skirt's going to be a little bit off. But you can see it's lined up with the top edge of the fabric, and I just kept scooting it out and out and out until it touched the other one. Now I'm going to flip it over, pin it with my finger, and go, yep, that'll work. Back over. Do a quick clip because I still got to unzip this. I don't want to manage to flip it all the wrong way before then. Unzip. Okay, here we go. See, that's why I love though having a clip or a pin in it, because by now I would have completely flipped all the pieces the wrong way again. So the zipper is going to sit in that channel, and I'm going to see if I need to adjust the needle also. Bring the needle down slowly. Right now the needle is kind of in the center. I feel like it maybe could move more towards the edge. Let's see. You want to make sure. Wow, yeah, that needle was too close. We're gonna take. So I've moved my needle. I feel a lot more comfortable with where it is. And let's sew. And none of that was in focus. Well, it is now at least. Getting to the end. Back stitch. Pull it out and make sure to trim these threads. Zippers love to eat threads and get caught on them and make a mess of them. Up at the top too, go back and get those threads before they get caught in the zipper. You ready for that moment of truth? Let's do it. There we go. Tops are matched within like 1/8 of an inch. That's close enough. And this hot orange invisible zipper is barely visible. That is so cool. So this side, which is the one I did first, is like seriously invisible. And this side, which I did second, I guess I was a little shy on that needle. I was worried that I was going to get too close again, and I could have gotten ever so slightly closer. But seriously, if that was a green zipper, you wouldn't care. You would never notice it. I am pretty darn happy for my first try using the invisible zipper foot. I'm going to order one for my primary machine. Look at this. If you don't pull it all, it practically disappears. So what you would do now is give this a quick press. Remember you're ironing over a zipper and don't melt it. And then the whole thing just disappears. Are invisible zippers so scary now? I hope not. Especially with that invisible zipper foot. That thing is amazing. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. My name is Alice, the Fabric Ninja, and you know what to do if you like this video.